History as we know it is not always as complete as we would like to think. As such, what we have mostly are mere bits and pieces of the whole. That is, until, by some stroke of serendipity, someone comes along who has precious knowledge of the in-betweens, the unknowns, or the little-known pieces of the past. Fortunately, in our time, that someone came in the person of Dr. Luciano P.R. Santiago. Dr. Luciano Chito Perez Rivera Santiago was a physician who completed his studies at the University of the Philippines College of Medicine in Manila. He then specialized in adult and child psychiatry at the Shepherd and Enoch Pratt Hospital in Baltimore, Maryland. While Dr. Santiago was truly successful in his practice, it was obvious that psychiatric therapy was not his only interest. This much was evident through his remarkable academic writings. Eventually, Dr. Santiago established a reputation as one of the country's top experts on tracing family genealogies. Doing much of his researches in Manila and abroad during his spare time, Dr. Santiago had a deep understanding of human behavior. His sharp insights on human nature, as well as his knowledge of the Spanish language, gave him the unique ability to create truly engaging narratives from obscure and mundane archival documents, census listings, baptismal records, marriage certificates, last wills and testaments, and the like. Woven together piece by piece in the hands of a master storyteller, these records came alive and drew vivid images of how individuals and families lived and moved about in their localities and in the country. In this sense, Dr. Santiago was a beacon of light on aspects of Philippine history that were unknown and have been left in the darkness of obscurity. Philippine Genealogy and Religious and Art History, the Luciano P.R. Santiago Reader, is a compendium of 16 essays written by Dr. Santiago in a span of 35 years that were published in the Philippine Quarterly of Culture and Society.
Luciano Santiago published mainly in two journals in the Philippines, the Philippine Quarterly of Culture and Society, which I now manage on behalf of the University of San Carlos, and the Philippine Studies, which is also the equivalent journal, a much older journal than our own, but this one is published by Ateneo de Manila University. These were the two vehicles with which Luciano Santiago published his scholarly works over the last 20 to 30 years. Well, the main challenge is that I've never met Luciano Santiago himself. I've read him. He's published a lot of articles, and he passed away, unfortunately, before this reader was decided on to be produced. So it was difficult to find out about his personal life. I think he guarded that very closely also. He was a very private person. All the articles he wrote are well researched, complete with sources. So there's no difficulty in terms of validating or affirming the veracity of the scholarly work that he produced that inside this reader.
The compilation is divided into 4 groupings, composed of 4 essays each, that are built on a common thread. Of Gentle Blood, From Lacan to Principalia, features 4 essays about the Principalia or Filipino aristocracy who briefly made their way up the social ladder before being integrated into the Spanish social hierarchy. The tales of these prominent families and their descendants was among Dr. Santiago's favorite subjects on whom he did extensive research. The next group of essays focuses on little-known women whose contributions to the development of Philippine arts and letters have been largely overlooked. To Love and to Suffer, the development of the religious congregations for women in the Philippines during the Spanish era, 1565 to 1898, tells of the beatas, or lay religious women, whose theological essays, prayer books, missals, music, corridos, pasión, short novels, historical accounts of religious congregations, and petitions to the Madrid court were invaluable contributions to the development of arts and letters in the country. Filipino Firsts, the third batch of essays, pays tribute to Filipino men and women who were trailblazing pioneers in their individual fields, in the clergy, in medicine, and the visual arts. The subjects of these essays have received lesser recognition throughout history than they truly deserve, and Dr. Santiago's exhaustive research serves reparation to such injustice.
For him to be the first director of the first Philippine Art Academy is a great achievement. But that is why he specified in the statutes of the academy that that everybody has to be admitted in the academy, regardless of their background, whether Chinese mestizo, Spanish, or Indio. They have to be accepted as long as they are qualified, and as long as they come on time, or as long as they are dressed decently.
The final set of essays under Chronicles and Memories are anchored on how distinguished families of the Spanish colonial period shaped the events of their time and transformed their respective communities in the process. It tells the story of the rise and fall of clans such as the Ordovesas of Laguna and the Mohicas of Cavite in vivid detail. The section also recounts how places such as Cebu, Libon, Vigan, Arevalo, Pila, Tayabas, Bacolor, and Lipa attained the privileged status of villas during the Spanish colonial era.
Santiago broke ground. His articles have never been published, nor the topics have ever been read or known. There's a lot of virtually the entire collection of works that he published in the Philippine Quarterly of Culture and Society, as well as in Philippine Studies, were products of original research. They're not secondary data work. He went to the National Archives, he went to the archives in Spain and gathered all the material. And so everything that he wrote there is very important, is very significant. For me, the most that I would not have known without Luciano Santiago is that there were Filipinos who were encomenderos. Very few people know, before these articles came, very few people, very small group of historians knew that there were Filipinos who were awarded by the Spanish crown with these encomiendas.
The historical figures featured in Dr. Santiago's writings are not the ones most of us are familiar with through textbooks and history classes. We do not celebrate special days in their honor, nor do we find their faces on bills or coins. However, the heroes and heroines in Dr. Santiago's tales, even in their ordinary everydayness, are just as significant as their most famous compatriots because of their contributions to our culture, our identity as a people and as a nation. After all, every single one of us is a unifying thread in this rich tapestry of life.